the tickets rendered invalid or whatever. So it's only when the shelters, when there's room in the shelters and the tickets issued. There are anywhere between 30 and 60 of these tickets issued in a given month. So about 1 or 2 a night.
30 to 60 a month. Kate, I saw you shaking your head there. Would you have something to add?
Well, yeah, I would like to add a little bit in terms of this, how humanitarian Santa Cruz is. Actually, our sleeping ban is probably the most draconian sleeping ban of any in the state, with the exception of perhaps LA, and they've just changed theirs because of the Jones decision. We, I believe, are the only ones that have a law against covering with bedding between 11 o'clock at night and 8:30 in the morning, 11:30 at night, 8 to 8 in the morning. So in other words, you can't even, sit somewhere in public and cover yourself with a blanket. So that's, that's pretty extreme. We also, our camping ordinance says, thou shalt not camp, and then it says camping is a sleeping, period, just sleeping. That is enough to trigger the law enforcement to cite people. The tickets are $95. The fine is $95, and you say that they're being waived. That is sporadic. Sometimes it's waived and sometimes it's not, depending on whether or not you have the right letter from the homeless shelter. If Santa Cruz is such a wonderful liberal place for the homeless, we were named to the top 15 meanest cities in the United States 2 years running. In the last, let's see, I think it was 2003, 2004, maybe 2002, 2003, in the United States.
And who made this determination, and what are the criteria?
This is a National Coalition on Homelessness, and what they did is they took all what they considered to be all laws that criminalized homelessness, which have to do with panhandling, have to do with sleeping. They took several categories, and then they just filled in, do they have a law against this? And we, of course, had one for every category, and so yeah, we were named among the meanest cities in the United States. So okay, go ahead.
Can I just say,
of course.
Sorry, I wrote a letter because I think it was the height of Washington, D.C. arrogance just to have an attorney sit in Washington, D.C., look over laws, and then make up this list without ever calling, without ever asking. The city of Santa Cruz spends millions of dollars every year on a variety of homeless programs, from the Reveille shelter to the River Street shelter. We just built new transitional housing on Barson Street. We have the mental health shelter on Cayuga. Or mental health transitional housing on Cayuga. We bus people to the Armory. We have an interfaith housing program where a city refunds churches to open up their places for housing. And that's just the housing part. In terms of, then we have a number of other programs to provide job training and counseling and a variety of other mental health networks. And so to look at this one narrow aspect, I take great exception, because I think the people of Santa Cruz have have done a fantastic job of supporting services when, again, it's cities and not it's counties, not cities that provide these services. And you pick any city within a 40-mile, 50-mile radius of Santa Cruz, Los Gatos' record, Monterey's record, Salinas' record, Watsonville, Scotts Valley. I mean, I can't think of any other city that has more programs in order to help people who are in need than Santa Cruz, and we should be proud of that.
Okay, thank you. So, services. Santa Cruz, you're saying, provides an extraordinary amount of services. Beds. So, as I look at more and more at this issue, I'm finding, and I'm hearing this here tonight, the way you're talking, you are talking. On one hand, there's the law, right? And what does the law provide, right? And so, according to this. I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the organization.
National Coalition on Homelessness.
Okay. According to this, when they're just looking at the laws on the books, they determine that Santa Cruz is a medieval city. Okay, just to find a word. But on the other hand, so that's looking at the laws, just what's written down on paper. But what Ryan is talking about is the services that are provided, and these are two different things, really. So I want to talk more about, because this is, and these things tend to get all mixed up together. So I think it might be useful to try to separate them a little bit and look at each. Don Zimmerman, you are with the ACLU, so for you this is, you can go ahead and say whatever you're going to say, but for you this is a civil rights issue.
It's a civil rights issue. It's also, and I think what Ryan has talked about and what you referred to, it's also a basic humanitarian issue. The predominant cause of homelessness, not just in Santa Cruz, but as Ryan pointed out, this is a national issue. It has more to do with mental illness and drug addiction than anything else. If this country had proper health care, which Santa Cruz, whether it's the best in the state, I don't know, but it certainly does have substantial assistance provided for social services to homeless people, and I think it deserves credit for that. From the ACLU standpoint, on the other hand, I think we're troubled by seeing Santa Cruz time after time is having tougher laws that so often come up against the borderline of the Constitution, both federal and state, so often that they sometimes cross over that line, as happened a couple of years ago in a case that Kate Wells handled. And we wonder why that's necessary. And let's turn to the camping ban ordinance in that regard. The ACLU was not opposed to limitations of this sort. We recognize that there's only so much that businesses and the public can be expected to put up with, but there also are civil rights protections that need to be provided to homeless people in Santa Cruz and everywhere else. And the question is, what should those limitations be? How should they go about doing that? Santa Cruz places this absolute ban. The ACLU in Los Angeles, the Southern California affiliate of the national ACLU, and I believe in San Diego, brought litigation against sleeping or camping bans that were viewed as so broad that they succeeded in getting a federal court ruling and a federal court of appeals ruling that the way the camping ban was being enforced by the Los Angeles Police Department in the downtown Skid Row area of Los Angeles was a violation of the 8th Amendment prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment. One of the issues had to do with whether this ban would be enforced when there was nowhere else to go. The federal judges who considered this matter took the view that what Los Angeles was doing was criminalizing the homelessness, being in the state of homelessness. They were making it a crime. As a consequence, the ACLU for Southern California and the city of Los Angeles, just in the last couple of weeks, entered into a settlement in this case in which the city of Los Angeles has agreed that it will not enforce the sleeping ban except at night and only if there are beds available in the shelters. The city has also agreed to build a great deal of housing for homeless people, not only in the Skid Row area, but elsewhere. And this agreement applies to the entire city. So as to that in Los Angeles, and I'm sorry, in Santa Cruz, the full shelter provision reads, any citation issued for a violation of this chapter shall be dismissed by the city attorney in the interest in justice if, at the time of citation issuance, the winter shelter at the Santa Cruz National Guard Armory is filled to capacity. Well, I have two questions about that, and maybe Councilmember Coonerty can enlighten us about